Hello and assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the look inside the SBL December 22 examiner report. And today I'm discussing the sixth perspective from the SBL examiner report, and that is to look at the examiner feedback on technical marks in SBL. Now, for the technical marks in SBL, this is what the examining team has to say. Demonstration of the technical knowledge alone or explanation of the theory does not score marks in SBL. And this has been said many times in my previous 5 sessions that it is the application of knowledge, not alone knowledge, which is required by the SBL marking team. So if you are just dumping knowledge, if you are just putting an explanation of a theory, that is irrelevant for SBL, right? So that's the first perspective of the examining team right here. The second, to gain each technical mark, candidates need to make point that address the requirement of the task. So every point should connect with the task. So the point you make connects with the task. So you're trying to answer the task. So if the task is asking for the importance of introducing e-commerce for ABC company, then every point you're writing about the importance of e-commerce should connect with the organization given in the case study. And whatever you're writing about e-commerce, you're not telling the history or you're not telling the perspective of e-commerce, you're just trying to tell the benefits of e-commerce to the given organization. So make the point which connects to the task. Number one, you will be rewarded. Show marker why the point being made was significant or relevant to the organization. If you're making a point or if you're telling this is the importance of e-commerce, then how this is important to the given organization, how the importance you're writing about e-commerce is important or is like valuable to the organization given in the case study. So try to connect it with the needs of the organization, with the strategic aims of the organization, with the mission of the organization, with their future goals, with their future plans, that how will the importance of e-commerce help them in the future plans or in their future goals. So first, the point you are making connects with the requirement of the task. Then the point you're making, you need to show the marker that why this point is extremely important for the given organization. And third, consider issues that were specified to the decisions or the issues covered in the task requirement. If you're covering a requirement around internal control issues or you're covering a requirement around the risk faced by the organization, try to pick up those issues from the case rather than writing your own. So if the question is asking for internal control weaknesses or issues, or the question is asking for risk faced by the organization, rather than writing a journal list of risk, try to find the risk the organization is actually facing. So consider the issues which are in the task, which are in the given case study. So when you're aiming at the technical marks, what is the cut short story? The cut short story from this particular slide in front of you is that you're trying to write something particular, something specific to the requirement and to the organization. That's the way you're fetching each of the technical mark. The second perspective of the examiner on the technical marks. In this sitting, the December 22, candidates often reproduced information taken from the exhibits without explaining why. So if you just copy paste without explaining why, what sort of professionalism are you demonstrating? What sort of a professional behavior are you demonstrating as an SBL student? You're getting nothing from the marking team. So if you are copy pasting something, that's good. That's good evidence of reading and planning. But later when you're writing, you should explain why. You should rephrase that. You should bring that point in the context of the requirement or in the context of the case study or in the context of why this is important to the given organization. Examples include reproducing statements made in Exhibit 4, the Economic Outlook Report, without evaluating why these points would impact on QH over the next 5 years. So just dumping things from Exhibit 4 while you were answering the task 1 in December 22, not even linking that dumping of information from Exhibit 4 to the QH over the next 5 years. Restating the activities listed in the site controller checklist. Restating the activities listed in the site controller checklist in Exhibit 5 without any reference to why these activities were strategically important for the task 3A. So examiner is saying you just dumped the activities which were listed in the Exhibit 5, but you didn't explain why these activities are strategically important to QH, because that was the nature of the question being asked in the task 3A. So examiner is very unhappy with the dumping of information, copy paste of information without making any relevance to that, or not even bothered about explaining that in the context of the organization given. So that was demonstrated in the task 1 and the task 3A. The third perspective of the technical marks. Up to 2 marks were sometime available for a well-developed point. Well-developed point, 2 marks. Now, before I proceed further, if you're dumping theory, if you're dumping knowledge, you are not connecting the point with the case study. You're not connecting the point with the requirements. You're not connecting the point with the organization. You're not connecting the point, but that is why it is strategically important for the given organization, or why it is important for the future goals and plans and their strategies for future. If you're not doing all sort of such things, are you meeting the definition of a well-developed point? What is a well-developed point? Let's try to understand that from an examiner perspective, because a well-developed point can only give you 2. So see what you need to do for a well-developed point. However, candidates are reminded that 2 marks will only be awarded when the candidates have successfully identified and explained a relevant point. So if you successfully identify the point from the exhibits and then explain that in the perspective of the requirement and in the perspective of the organization, that would be considered as a well-developed point to fetch 2 marks, and then develop this point by evaluating how significant the point is in the context of the organization or its future goals and strategic aims, using the information provided that relates the point directly to QH. Whatever you are writing, try to connect it with the organization. Try to connect it with the future of the organization. Explaining the consequence. If you are writing an answer about some issues, about some challenges, then what are implications of those, or what are consequences of those to QH? So trying to write the implications to QH might be needed in a certain requirement. Supporting the point made with relevant examples from the case material. You can give example from the case, such as this, such as this, such as this, but those examples are not out of the case study or the real examples. No, those examples are from the case material. A lot of times students ask, can we give examples? Examiner is saying, yes, you can give examples, provided you're taking those examples from the case study and you can give reference to them. You can give reference to them. So can we get 2 marks for relevant point? Yes. But what we need to do for it, a well-developed point. What is a well-developed point? A point which is well explained, well evaluated. You have connected that to the organization, to the future of the organization, where you need to speak of the consequences or the implications. You have spoken of that, and ensuring that you've given relevant examples from the case material. That is a well-developed point. But if you're just padding up your answers theoretically, linking the knowledge you learned from the Kaplan and BPP book or from an examiner article, and not even bothered about connecting it with a case study, with the requirement, with the organization, its future, then what justice you're doing towards your technical marks in SBL? So the formula for technical marks is pretty simple in SBL. It's just about ensuring that you write a very particular case specific answer. And the more you absorb the case, the more you connect things to the organization, to the requirement, you are producing a wonderful answer for your examiner. So I hope you do justice to the technical marks, and you try to improve upon your scores in the SBL upcoming exams. So I hope this discussion from the examiner would really help you improve upon your technical marks. Your tutor Kashif Kamran signing off from this discussion. Take care. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.